Hi lovelies, it's me Tamala Clover, and today I'm going to be doing the second video for Clover Games, because I'm Clover and I game, and it's a Magic the Gathering video where the first one we unboxed, well, we just took them out of the box, literally, the new 4 commanders, and we went through, me and my best friend who came to co-host with me, and we went through the cards and gave our opinions and whatnot, and now we're going to do that same thing for the next deck. And so I am going to bring out, again, my best friend, Jeffrey Lords. What an honor to have you. Come on over. Don't be shy. He's not used to being in front of the camera. Like, he's done, like, radio hosting and stuff, but he's, like, more, like, podcasty type things. And
face.
Yeah. He's like, what do I do with my face? I keep putting my hands in my face. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with the hands. I'm like, stay down, hands. Because I'm also pretty new to, like, doing these videos and whatnot. I've done a lot of work, like, in communities and with other things. Like, my other thing that I'm doing right now currently on YouTube is Dear Tamala, which is advice that I give to people. And there's some other things that are going to be more creative content that I'm planning to roll out in hopefully in a little bit. But those things would take more time, and, like, got to build up my skills and, you know, work on, like, those creative contents. But let's bring out the deck that we're going to be doing today.
The Slivers.
The Slivers. So for those of you who aren't aware, there are 4 new, it's Commander Masters, right?
Yeah.
They tend to be pretty pricey, and then that's just the base price, and then there's, like, how much they actually get sold for, and usually Commander decks end up costing more than they originally were put out by Wizards because of demand in, like, the secondary market. And so the 4 decks that you could get were an Eldrazi one, which we did a video on already, the Slivers one, which we're going to do the video for today, and then there is a Planeswalker themed commander deck, and finally there is an enchantment commander deck that I'm really excited about because I have my own commander enchantment deck that just rolls. I'm really looking forward to see what Wizards did with theirs and where it differs from mine. And also I hope I win when I later play that game. But we're going to get into it now. This is going to be a 5-color commander deck. So all 5 colors. Which, you know, I have a 5-color commander deck and it does okay.
So one of the main complaints about this online is that for a 5-color deck, it has kind of a bad mana base. Like, it's difficult to get all 5 colors out. So that is the pretty consistent complaint. And most people who say that it's not necessarily the deck itself, but the price for the deck, because these are supposed to be what's called premium content. Which means they're more expensive than normal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we got like this for $309 for all 4.
And that was originally, like, way on sale, but now prices are fluctuating a lot because of, like, feedback. And it's just, like, one of those things. For anyone who bought it more expensive, if it goes down, I just say that you paid what you were willing to pay for those. Just like when in Magic and other collector things, sometimes you don't pay for something and then the price goes up and then you would have to later pay more. It's just like, well, you didn't value at that price at the time. Maybe it wasn't the right time in your life. But I always try to avoid having buyer's regret. I don't think so for us, like, we were split into decks kind of. We went in on it together, and we do that oftentimes in Magic, like when we do boxes and things like that. Just it cuts the price down, and we've known each other for years, and so $300, so that would be about $75 each, I believe, for the decks if you rounded it out evenly.
Yeah, I think I calculated $77 per deck, which at the time when I was buying it was actually kind of a good deal. But
do you know what the decks are going for right now?
Well, I know that all 4 of them I've seen for $277.
So not too much of a price drop. They're still probably giving a discount for, like, having all 4 of them together. But we're gonna play it by ear, and we already did the review for the Eldrazi one. You can check that out. That's gonna be the first video for Clover Games and the Magic the Gathering content. I also do other types of games, so look forward to those. And now we're gonna get into it. We're gonna open this. They have a nice, easy to open thing on the bottom.
Which, by the way, I was today years old when I learned that.
I used to just rip through the boxes myself, and then I was like, wow, how come I didn't notice this?
So we're gonna go ahead and give this back.
Show them the commander. Oh, not. That's fine.
Yeah.
So again, if we did this all evenly, this deck would have been for what we paid about $75, maybe $77. But when they were being sold individually, this was one of the ones that was priced originally higher, and like the enchantment deck was priced lower. So some of the decks were like considered to be worth more, and other decks were considered to be worth a little bit less. Again, it comes with one of these little countdown things that you could use. It comes with the deck, and then we have gambling for Magic addicts.
So these are, like I kind of said, these are basically 2-pack versions of the collector's boosters, which are the premium boosters that can be in double digits for how much those packs are. So let's see what we get this time.
Yeah, I'd say last time the cards were okay.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know this came with like these.
Hey, you want to use your grace and get this open? We could just use it. The last one was so much easier.
I got it. Okay, but now I'm the controller of the cards.
Yeah.
Okay. We have an Azami, Lady of Scrolls, which is a 5-casting blue legendary creature, human wizard, 0/2, and tap and untap wizard you control, draw a card. She's okay, and it's a nice artwork. Ooh, this is an interesting counterspell art. Counterspell, for those of you who are new, I think everybody who's not new knows what it is.
OG card.
Yeah, it's an OG. It's like one of the best counterspells out there. And it just says, counter target spell for 2. It's an instant. Boom.
It's like a card that says exactly what it does.
Yeah. Go ahead and like hold that up to the camera. It's like pretty, kind of hard to see with the shininess of the foil, but I think it's an interesting art take on it, and it's just a good card to have in general. I know a lot of you might be playing like standard and things like that. I don't know if counterspell is currently in standard. I don't play standard, honestly. I just don't want to keep up with it. Like, I have so many decks that I have to keep up on already, so I play some of the older formats, just so that I have variety in my decks, that to use whatever cards I want, because I've been playing for a while. But let's get into it. So again, for those of you who get one of these things, there is in the middle, there's supposed to be a nice little thing that you could tear. This one didn't go off super easily, but it still came off okay. And we're going to start off with the commander that they give us as the main commander. It is Sliver, Grave Mother. It's 1 color of each of the colors to cast. It's a 6/6. Of course, it's a Sliver. It would be really ridiculous if they made a Sliver deck and the commander at least wasn't a Sliver. And the legend rule doesn't apply to Slivers you control. That's good. Yeah, I mean, the legend rule isn't as big of a deal as it used to be. When I first got into Magic, it was right before they changed the legend rule, where it used to be you could only have like 1 out of a thing, like anywhere on the board.
Well, the one big problem with it is there's, I think, only like 6 to 7 legendary Slivers in the game.
Yeah. So the second thing this guy does is each sliver creature card in your graveyard has Encore X, where X is its mana value, and that is you. Let's see. Exile this card from your graveyard, and for each opponent, create a token copy that attacks the opponent this turn. If able, they gain haste. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step and activate only as a sorcery.
So yeah, it's green grave tokens to.
And this also has Encore 5, so you can put this in your graveyard if you want and do that. It's kind of nice because it for each opponent. So if you're playing a group game, which is kind of the format I like best, I enjoy the social aspect, and I also feel like it can give its own special kind of play, which I could go over more later, like the difference between like playing one-on-one versus playing like in a group versus playing like two-headed giant, all those things, and like how you might want different decks for each of those type of things. 60 card decks versus like 100 card commander decks and whatnot, and like then good way to decide what play you like. But ultimately, I'd say this is a solid choice for a commander. Is it the best commander choice out there? No. And what's the best commander for a Sliver deck?
A lot of people would argue Sliver Overlord, which lets you tutor slivers up.
But let us get into it. So the next card we have is actually a legendary human wizard.
Not a sliver.
Not a sliver, but it's 5 casting costs. Again, one of each of the 5 colors. A 3/3. And as it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Slivers you control and non-token creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to the other creature types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. And it has pay 3, tap it to create a 1/1 colorless sliver creature token. So
at least to create slivers.
So you could, in theory, actually call this a sliver, like when it comes into the battlefield, because it's saying like all the cards are whatever card type you want. So if you wanted this to be a strictly sliver deck, it's essentially saying that, yeah, this is a human wizard, but it could also be a sliver, in essence, So I like that it is specifically for slivers with what it does. I think it is a card to consider keeping in a sliver deck, even though it's strictly speaking not a sliver, but to me it meets enough of the requirements that you could argue for it. And now we have our first sliver.
So for anybody who doesn't know slivers, they're symbiotic. They're a symbiotic tribe that basically, if one of them have the power, they give everyone the power.
They're gross. Like, I don't know. Like they kind of like they freak me out a little bit, and I don't know if it's just in my head, but when I imagine slivers, like I just imagine like sluggy eel, like evil, like little.
Hey, they did have versions of them that look like the Predator.
Oh, that's better. Just give those guys legs and like let them go at you. But let's keep going. We have Winged Sliver. It is a blue sliver, 2 casting, 1/1.
Guess what it gives them?
Oh, yeah. We just want to give you a second to guess, but then I'm like, they're not going to say it back to me because we're just recording.
It's like Red Bull.
Yeah, flying. Yeah, all the slivers get flying with this guy, which is nice for a 2/2, a 1/1. And even if it just had flying itself, that would be great. But it's given all of the slivers flying, and I would say 100% definitely. I'm just going to put that over here in this pile here. For like, you definitely want that card in your deck. Like, I don't see any problem with it. Next we have Clop Sliver. It's a 2 casting black 1/1, and all slivers have pay 2, regenerate this permanent. And what that means is the next time this permanent would be destroyed, instead tap it, remove it from combat, and heal all damage from it. So that's a pretty sweet ability if you have the mana. And I don't know if it definitely has to go in the deck, but it's a low casting price and it's a kind of unique ability. This deck is going to be hard pressed to be bad. The question will be later on, is it as good as it can be? But slivers are just solid in and of themselves. I think they might actually be more scary than elves, but that's debatable. We have Crept Sliver, which is a 2 cast in black, 1/1. Sliver. All slivers have tap it, regenerate target sliver.
So it's kind of like the one before, except instead of paying 2, you tap.
The main difference is the other one, you could do it multiple times. You could pay into it multiple times. And this one, no, this is better. I like this one better than the other one. Like, if you had to pick one of those, I would go with the second one. And now we have a red sliver, a 2/2 for 3.
It's like haste is the power that it gives all the
Blur sliver, and that's not bad. Haste for 3, 2/2, like that's really good. We have Blade Sliver, which is a 2/2 red for 3. All sliver creatures get +1/+0. It's a little baby Sliver Lord. It's okay. It's, I'm thinking we're gonna see better though. And here we are. We are at better. Bone Splitter. Yeah, I know. Bone Splitter Sliver. It's a 2/2 for 4. All sliver creatures get +2/+0. I really like it when it's more like even, like it's like 1/1 instead of like a 2/0. But I think sliver decks are meant to go a little bit fast and hard. I'm not sure.
So yeah, for one more mana, it gets 1 more power. Looks like.
We have Cleaving Sliver, which is a 2/2 for 4 red. Sliver creatures you control get +2/+0.
It's basically the same sliver. This one says all slivers, and this one's sliver creatures you control.
Yeah. I missed that.
They kind of fixed it later on in the game because the first slivers that came out were all slivers.
See, and same thing with elves, which is one of the things I play. And I don't usually play with cards like that in case I accidentally play against somebody who has the same kind of deck as me. It gives me a slight advantage if my stuff says only for me and they have anything on their side that says everyone. That's just my personal preference.
A lot of the original lords that they put out were all creatures.
And then we have Hollerhead Sliver. It's a 2/2 for 3 red. Sliver creatures you control have tap, discard a card, draw a card. And that feels very red to me. Like, a lot of these abilities, I really am liking with the Sliver stuff, is that it seems so far, we're only a little bit in, seems true to, like, the mana color,
Yeah, they're true to the color pie.
Yeah, and, like, Magic's been around so long that that's not always the case. But it's nice to see that. And that's good, just like if you need something. I really don't like to discard cards, but I play blue instead of red usually, so I'm used to just drawing cards and not having to discard. We have Striking Sliver. It's a 1 casting 1/1, and sliver creatures you control have first strike. Boom.
Get you.
No, it's like so great. First strike, a 1/1 for 1. Like, that is just a good card in any deck. Like, any deck. So good. And I'm liking that the mana curve so far is very low. Like, the first deck that we went over, it was skewed really high, and that's going to be hard to really get things going unless you find a strategy around that, and there are some that maybe we'll do a video on. But if you're wanting to go faster, having like a lot of low cast and stuff can really help you without having to do all the mana. Yep. And with this being a 5-color deck, you're going to really want to be able to have low cast and stuff. We have a 2-headed Sliver, which is a 1/1 for 2 red. All sliver creatures have Menace, which is they can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. So again, just so good. And you can really see how this can add up very quickly to making even a small amount of slivers look very menacing.
Slivers menacing. Are like the most communistic creatures of all Magic.
Yeah.
Everyone gets
I don't want to say that communism is like terrifying though, so I'm not sure I want to go with that comparison, because slivers are a little bit terrifying, but yeah. Next we have a sorcery, Cultivate, and it's just going to be bringing you 2 basic land cards It's a mana ramp.
It's a mana fixer and a mana ramp, yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice because you could search for 2 different colors if you're missing them. I'm guessing that's going to be needed or something similar in the deck.
There'll probably be multiple cards like that.
We have another one. It's Farseek, 2 casting green sorcery, where you search for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card, and you put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Which is not bad. This is great. Gemhide Sliver. It's a 1/1 for 2 green, and all slivers have tap it, add 1 mana of any color. That's amazing. Like, you get this out and you're fine. You know, you're gonna be fine for mana, and it's especially the 1 mana of any color is really great. So let's see. We have a mana weft sliver. It's a 1/1 for 2 green, and this one is sliver creatures you control have add 1 mana of any color.
So this is again that
all slivers, and I keep skipping that all, and I think it's because I really have trouble like processing reading out loud. I have dyslexia, and I kind of have that's one of the ways it manifests. So again, if I was picking only one of these to go with, I personally would go with sliver creatures you control.
Unless you're sure you're not going to be playing another sliver deck.
Or you're planning to make a deck to play 2-headed giant with people. In which case, if you were doing that and they might have slivers, or they might be able to use your slivers or things like that, and you didn't think like the other side might have it, that's another option on the flip side. It's like, if you know you want to share benefits with somebody, then, do the opposite. Here we go. Might Sliver. It is a 2/2 for 5. So it's a little bit more expensive for the power and toughness, but all the slivers get +2/+2. So that's a proper sliver lord there. And I like it so far. So far, there's like good solid stuff. Like, this is a good base. I'm not seeing really any cards where I'm like, no, this shouldn't be here. We have Nature's Lore, which is a sorcery, and it allows you to find a forest card and put it on the battlefield. Put it on the battlefield, not even tapped, and then 2. And we have Crick Sliver. It's a 1/1 for 2 green, flash, which is nice, so it's an instant, essentially. Any player may cast Sliver spells as though they had flash. Mm. Again, you don't have to worry too much. People probably aren't going to be playing with too many slivers unless you're actually playing on purpose a sliver against sliver deck. I'm going to guess that gets crazy. I did an elf versus an elf deck once with a friend who had a really good one, and I was like, okay, we did that, and never again, ever. It was too much. But this is nice because it's given all of your slivers flash, and it's going to make things faster. And if you can find a way to like get your lands to untap during other people's turns, then essentially you could treat it the way that elf decks often work, which is it's your turn, but I'm playing on your turn, especially if you can get some draw and stuff going.
Another land finder.
We have a 1/1 for 2 green. Slivers creatures you control have death touch, and like, oh my gosh, death touch.
Dead.
It's a good way. It's a good way to control the board. It's a good way to make enemies, but like it makes people like it makes you an enemy, but like people hesitate about like how to come at you. Yeah.
They're not going to be sending their big baddies your way.
Okay. We have our first multicolored sliver. It is a 2 casting white blue crystalline sliver, and it's a 2/2, which is great. And all slivers have shroud, which means they can't be the target of spells or abilities.
Even your spells or abilities.
Which is like one downside. Hexproof I think is better. Typically, but with a sliver deck, you probably don't want to waste your colored slots on spells that are targeting your stuff anyways, because like they're so powerful and they make everything else powerful, so it kind of does the work for you.
There's probably a sliver that whatever card you want to do, there's probably a sliver that does it.
Yeah. We have a 3 casting red-green Sliver, Fire Wake Sliver. It's a 1/1, and all your Slivers get haste, and all Slivers have pay 1, sacrifice this permanent, and target Sliver creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So that's just a nice way of, one, your Slivers are coming out fast, that's solid for the price, and then you are also getting a pump-up ability, and I think you could have it target multiple Slivers, so say you sacrifice a couple of them and have it do the same one. It could allow you to pump something up to, you know, kill something that's a little bit bigger. Typically Slivers are the things that you're going to be worried about on the board, and they're not the ones worrying about who's big, but you never know, early game maybe. So I think that's solid. We have a 3-casting green-white 1/1 Sliver. That's Harmonic Sliver. And all Slivers have, when this permanent enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Okay, that's... Because I'm like a little jealous of like this Sliver deck. Like, it's just like, hey, what can I do for you? Oh, I want this thing. Yeah, you got it. Anything else? Yeah. What about this? What about flying? Yeah, you can have that too. Can I have like destroy enchantments and artifacts? Oh yeah, of course you can. Yeah, you're just a Sliver deck. Have whatever you want. Just enjoy yourself. Yeah, just go out there and have fun. That's what it feels like a little bit so far. But so far, like, I'm liking everything I'm seeing. And again, Slivers have been around for a while, so there's of course going to be some really big powerful cards. Some of them are really expensive, and like the most expensive one I know of is not currently in this deck that is protected, but.
And Sliver Queen also can't be reprinted because it's on what's called a reserved list, which means that Magic made this nebulous list and they threw cards on it, and those cards can never be reprinted. It's like a deal they have with collectors.
So yeah, so some of like those old cards, like you get into that collector stuff where like it's great for like people who are looking at it for like the collector value, but it can make it a little bit harder for people who are looking at getting cards just to play. Continuing on, we have a 2-casting black-blue Sliver, and it's a 2/2. All Slivers have pay 2 life, return this permanent to its owner's hand. This is the first card I don't like that much. It's not terrible, but like, I just don't like it very much. Lava Belly Sliver, it's a 2/2 for 3 casting, 1 red and 1 yellow. And your Slivers have, when this creature enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker, and you gain 1 life. So that's really nice that you're gaining some life, and it's also plinking people. And see, that one's good. We have a 3-casting white-black Sliver, Necrotic Sliver. It's a 2/2. And all Slivers have pay 3, sacrifice this permanent, destroy target permanent. And that's nice. That's nice, because maybe you have like a way to make Sliver tokens, or like you're doing something with Slivers, and like there's a Sliver you don't really care about, or it's redundant, and like, oh, I'm going to get rid of this like permanent that I really don't like. So that one is really solid. We have an artifact, Herald's Horn.
Yeah, it's really good for tribal.
So you choose a creature type, and it makes the chosen type 1 less to cast. And you can look at the top of your library at the beginning of your upkeep. If it's a creature of the chosen type, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. So it adds some like draw to it, and it makes less, and it's only 3. So
I'm surprised they didn't change the art for that one.
Yeah.
You just have a random dude by a horn.
This I don't think is that great, like, because it's really limited, and it doesn't, I don't know, it's 2 casting, and just when you choose a creature type as it enters the battlefield, and then you tap it and add 1 mana of any color type, spend this mana only to cast a creature of the chosen type. It's actually decent with the any mana color, so I could see that actually. We have, I'm gonna skip some of the basic lands and stuff. But floodplain, it's land.
Yeah, one of the main complaints is the lands in here, that there's just way better lands. So if you ever do buy this deck, you can probably replace most of the lands with superior lands.
Yeah. And so we have a Regal Sliver, which is a 4-cast and white Sliver, 3/3, and Sliver creatures you control have, when this creature enters the battlefield, Slivers you control get +1/+1 until end of turn if you're the Monarch. Otherwise, you become the Monarch. So let's bring in the Monarch in, and we're kind of, I don't know, I feel like we still have a lot to go through, so we'll circle back if we can about the Monarch and explain that. It's a fun little rule.
It's basically like a hot potato.
Yeah, and
everyone tries to get the Monarch from everyone.
You know, it could keep a game interesting or whatever, but I'd say this one's okay. I might see if there's like a better one because I don't really care about the Monarch thing too much, but it's me. We have a 4-cast in blue Sliver, Taunton Sliver. It's a 3/3, and Sliver creatures you control have, when this creature enters the battlefield, gold target creature an opponent controls, which means until your next turn, that creature attacks each combat if able and attacks a player other than you if able. So essentially, it's a little bit going with the Monarch stuff where like you're trying to kind of like control the board. It came out like, I think both these abilities came out around like the same set, which was like focusing on group games and like dynamics and stuff.
His code doesn't work very great in 2-player
no. games. You're like, attack somebody, but don't attack me. Oh wait, I'm the only person. Yeah, but that one's okay. It's like, I don't know if it's best, but it's like, it's not bad. Oh, an illusion. So we have a 6-costing 6/6 Titan of Litajara illusion, and as it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. I think I'm going to choose Sliver in this case, and it is the chosen type in addition to its other types. So, psych, it's actually a Sliver too. It's just a Sliver illusion. Whenever Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, you may draw a card for each other creature you control that shares a creature type with it. If you do, discard a card. And I like that it says you may draw a card, the may part, because there are some cards that would just say you do, and those cards can get real dangerous in something that you're having a lot of like the same creatures and stuff.
Yeah.
But the may ability is really good. It's also a big beefy thing all on its own. I think it's a solid choice. And it's an interesting, like, it's something that somebody making a Sliver deck might not come up with on their own if they're strictly looking at things that are Slivers.
This is one of the newer Slivers.
Lazotep Sliver. It is a 4-cast in black 4/4, and Sliver creatures